7 a.m, too early for work, but Matt gets out of his car anyway, ready to start his first day. It's not particularly bright outside, but it's not dark either. Just cloudy with a light drizzle that's starting to clear up. Matt walks over to the building, looking up at the flamboyant but broken sign with a big brown bear atop it. Matt softly places his hand on the door handle and takes a deep breath. While breathing out, Matt opens the door, letting go of most of his anxieties about his new job. An exhausted young lady with pink hair lifts her head up from the desk and looks up at Matt. She's definitely not a morning person as she rolls her eyes and sighs at Matt. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, she says dejectedly. Ugh, why do I have to do that? It's so cringe. The pink-haired lady mutters under her breath. I'm Matt, he responds, ignoring her quiet remark from before. She stares at him like she has no idea. I'm the new guy, he adds. Oh, the new guy. Whatever. Uniform's in the back, go put one on. Oh, I'm Sarah, by the way. She rolls her eyes once more. Before Matt can reply, Sarah grunts in discontent. Ugh, it's too early for this. Matt walks past Sarah, walking towards the room behind the reception desk. Matt places his hand on the handle, and it goes down with a light squeak. He opens the door, and that, too, creaks quietly. Entering the room, Matt looks around for the uniforms. There's not much in here. A filing cabinet, some chairs, a small coffee table, and on a shelf in the corner of the room, there sits a large cardboard box with a single word crudely written in black marker. Uniforms was the word written. Matt takes the box down from the shelf and opens it. A small puff of dust wafts around him upon opening the box. It clearly hasn't been used for a while. Quickly, Matt searches for a Freddy's t-shirt that's just his size. He finds it. After finding it, he gives it a good shake to make sure there aren't any bugs on it. Then he puts it on over his t-shirt and buttons it up. The shirt is a dark wine colour with a small stitched logo on the upper left hand side. It's a more clean and less damaged version of the sign sitting atop the front of the building. Dressed to his best, Matt wanders out of the room and puts himself in front of Sarah. What? She looks at him unimpressed. What do you want me to do first? He asks. There's this balloon dispenser thing that's busted. No one wants to go near it after Macy got her hand caught in it. So you're gonna go see if you can fix it. There might still be a finger in it. Confused, Matt tries to question his orders, but Sarah stops him and points to the party room. Balloons, now go. Defeated, Matt lowers his head and sighs, and enters the doors to the party room. It's dark with small brick-like windows sitting at the top of the left-hand wall, spaced apart with only a little bit of sunlight passing through. After closing the door, Matt is immediately greeted by another entity in the room. Matt knows this entity all too well, after a couple of days not being bothered to tidy his small apartment. Mouldy food. Somewhere in the musky party room is some mouldy food, probably pizza. Looking around, there's not much to see. It's a long rectangular room with 4 long tables that seats around 10 or so guests each, and a small stage right at the back of the room. There aren't any animatronics on stage there right now. They're all probably on the main stage, Matt thought to himself. Strewn across the walls were crudely drawn images made by the children who visited this party room. Some seemed to be originals where they drew their favourite animatronic or favourite moment, like them getting their cake or playing with their friends, and some of the drawings were dot-to-dots and those colour the character sheets you get in party packs. There was one image that stuck out to him. He walked over to the wall to inspect it further. It was an image of what appeared to be a multicoloured character holding a balloon. and a lot of red scribbled on next to it. Next to the red scribbles was a pink stick shape. Something about this didn't feel right, so Matt ripped it off the wall, screwed it up, and throws it away. Then he looks around the room. Matt detects the animatronic in question, hiding off to the side of the stage, out of the way of any children. Thankfully, it's been cornered off. Maybe what Sarah said about that Mesa girl was true. As Matt's eyes meet the eyes of a balloon-spurting animatronic, Matt slowly begins to walk toward it. While walking towards it, Matt feels something alluring about the animatronic, as if something about it is calling him to come closer. Before he knew it, Matt was right in front of the animatronic. He inspects it. Nothing unusual, some scuff marks around its legs and waist, probably from all the times it's been moved around. Some of its paint had chipped off, as if it had been dragged across a wall by another employee, or knocked over onto the floor one too many times. Looking a bit closer, the smiling animatronic appears to have a slight red splatter on a couple of its teeth. Blood. Oh god, she was right. The girl must have gotten a hand stuck in its mouth for some reason. Why would she even put her hand in there? As he inspects the animatronic to find the fault, the foul stench from earlier whacks his nostrils with full force. Ugh, what is that? He remarks loudly. Before, he thought it was just rotten food, and maybe there was some in the room somewhere, but this smelled different. It's not a smell Matt recognised, but it was pungent and wet, like a bowl of 3-day-old raw chicken left out on a hot, humid day. This was a foul odour of decay. Matt gags a couple of times and takes a step back. As he does, he hears what appears to be a child greeting him. "Hello?" it said. The noise seemed to echo around the room instinctively. Matt turns his head around, looking all around the room for the child in question. But he sees no one. Suddenly, the awful smell has all but vanished. Nah, this place is weird. I'm out. Just gonna say I can't fit. It's at this moment that Matt notices something stuck in a hole in the animatronic's right palm. It's a piece of paper. Matt quickly removes it and opens up the note. "It's me" has been written in big capital letters. Annoyed that Sarah was probably pranking him, he storms out of the room. "Hey, what is this?" Matt pushes another worker out of the way of the reception desk and slams the note down in front of Sarah, who bursts out laughing. "Oi, what was that for?" the man Matt shoved out of the way blurts out. Sarah, still laughing, lets the two men talk. "She has just sent me in there with a broken balloon dispenser thing and tried to scare me half to death," Matt angrily explains. Smirking and trying not to giggle, that man replies, "Yeah, she does that. Got me a few times too." Matt, a little bit puzzled by the man's passive reaction, asks, "I'm sorry, but who are you anyway?" Wiping the smirk off his face, the man tells Matt his name. "Oh, I'm James. Jim for short. I'm one of the party planners along with Sarah." Sarah finishes laughing and has the biggest smile on her face. "Oh, that was funny, Jim. This is the new guy, got him on his first day, making sounds, wafting some sort of awful smells in there, putting this note in that balloon dispenser thing. I bet that girl never got her hand injured either," Matt explains. Sarah's smile drops and her head hangs down. Actually, what happened to Macy was true. She was cleaning its head after some kids threw food at it, but her ring slipped off. She tried to get the ring out of its mouth, but her hand got stuck. Even now she swears it tried to chew her hand off. Also, the smell is just how this place smells. It's been like that since it opened in the 70s, Sarah explained. "Hey Sarah, tell him about the missing kids." Jim smirks and nudges Sarah. "Nope, I don't want to hear another ghost story from you. Now, is that thing actually broken, or can I leave it alone?" Matt asks Sarah. Yeah, it works fine, but I do want you to go in there and mop the floors. Not been done in a few days, there's a particular stain that we can't get out. Not sure what it is, but it's all goopy looking. Sarah orders. Jim, who had snuck off for a second, comes back with a mop and a bucket of water. Off you go, get the floors clean. Jim motions towards the door to the party room, obviously trying to shoo Matt away. Sighing once more, Matt waddles off, bucket and mop in hand, to the party room. At the entrance, Matt places the bucket down and sticks the mop in to soak up some water. After a couple of seconds, Matt brings the mop out of the bucket and begins to mop. The floor's not that dirty, so Matt takes his time and looks around the place while he mops. His eyes once again meet the animatronic, and when he does, another childlike greeting rings out. Hi. Matt thinks this is just Sarah and maybe Jim messing with him again. So he ignored it and goes back to mopping. A couple of minutes of mopping later and a sudden ka-chunk sound fills the room, making Matt jump out of his skin. Matt looks around the room to look for the source of the sound, when his eyes fall once again on the animatronic. A balloon starts to form from its hand. Looks like it's fine then, Matt thinks to himself. The balloon grows and grows until it bursts loudly. Annoyed, Matt drops the mop and walks over to the animatronic. Matt checks the back of the animatronic and there's a label on it. Balloon Boy, it says. I guess that's your name. It suits you. You're an annoying balloon popper, aren't you? Like all those little kids who like to pop balloons just to torment their dogs. Suddenly, a childish cackle comes from the animatronic's mouth. Startled, Matt stumbles back. Once again irritated, Matt walks back into reception to confront Sarah. Do you act like this every day, Matt asks Sarah aggressively, but confidently. Do what? Sarah asks, a little bit taken aback by Matt's demeanour. Oi, stop getting at the poor girl, will ya? Jim shouts across the room, coming back in from a party room on the other side. You've got a remote control for that thing, don't you? Matt questions. For what thing? What are you talking about? Sarah's voice trembles a little bit. Stop it, you're scaring her. Jim steps in between the reception desk and Matt. Stop shouting at Sarah and tell me what's going on. Jim speaks confidently with a little bit of aggression behind his voice. That animatronic, Balloon Boy, started blowing balloons and popping them for no reason. And it does this freaky laugh thing. It's obviously another one of her pranks. Matt explains to Jim. Look, it just does that. This really isn't her this time. That thing's got a mind of its own. Scares the kids. We're having a new one built, so we've got to keep using that until we get it. Matt scoffs at this and goes back to the party room to finish up the mopping. But something stops him as soon as he opens the door. Guys, come quick. Matt ushers for Sarah and Jim. What? What is it? Jim asks. Just get over here now, Matt shouts frantically. Sarah and Jim both look at each other, then proceed towards the door. Once at the door, Sarah and Jim peek into the horror that waits. They're just everywhere. How are there already so many? Matt says, confounded. Balloons, it's just so many balloons, mutters Jim. What the... Matt, what have you done? Sarah accuses Matt. What, me? I've not done anything. That thing just won't stop. All three of them enter the room and look at all the balloons floating around the room. Sarah begins to direct the two other men. Right, Matt, you go and find a way to turn that thing off, and Jim, you try and pop all the balloons and clear them up. I'm gonna have to cancel the booking for tonight. Who has a birthday party on a Sunday anyway? Jim begins trying to get all the balloons to one side, while Matt wades his way through the balloons to get to the animatronic. Alright, Balloon Boy, you've got to stop this now, Matt says to the balloon dispensing animatronic. Once Matt moves a few balloons out of the way, Balloon Boy appears to be holding up a sign that says free balloons. Utterly confused, Matt shouts across the room to Jim. He's got a sign now! Jim, also confused, wades his way through the balloons towards Matt so he can inspect the sign. Suddenly, a huge popping sound rings its way throughout the entire building, as all the balloons pop at once, knocking both Matt and Jim off their feet. Hearing this, Sarah bursts her way through the door. "What was that? Are you okay?" she frantically asked, looking around at all the pop balloons. Jim speaks up while staggering to his feet. "Yeah, we're fine. A bit deaf, but good." The sound of all those balloons popping left the two men with a loud ringing in their ears. "Come on, you two, let's take a break so you can get your hearing back," Sarah shouts to the boys, both back on their feet now. All three of them walk out, Matt and Jim wriggling their fingers in their ear to try and stop the ringing, but to no avail. Still in shock, Matt mutters, "Sign. It had a sign. Where did it come from?" In response, Sarah explained, "To the security office."